Question 1. A development team struggles with consistently meeting its sprint goal. During sprint retrospective, they identify that frequently changing priorities from stakeholders during the sprint are a major impediment. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take? A. Escalate the issue to senior management to enforce a no-change policy during sprints. B. Coach the product owner on the importance of sprint goal stability and protecting the sprint backlog. C. Facilitate a meeting between the development team and stakeholders to confront them about the changes. D. Advise the development team to refuse any new work during the sprint once the sprint backlog is set. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on the importance of sprint goal stability and protecting the sprint backlog. The most appropriate action for the Scrum Master is to coach the product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team, which includes ensuring the product backlog is ordered and understood, and protecting the sprint goal once committed. Frequent priority changes indicate a lack of understanding or discipline regarding the sprint goal's stability, which the product owner is primarily responsible for upholding. By coaching the product owner, the Scrum Master helps reinforce the Scrum framework's principles and empowers the product owner to manage stakeholder expectations effectively. This ensures the team can focus on achieving the sprint goal without constant disruption. Remember, the Scrum Master acts as a coach and process enabler, rather than a manager or enforcer. Question 2. The Scrum team is consistently failing to deliver a done increment by the end of the sprint. The product owner expresses frustration, and the development team feels overwhelmed. What aspect of the Scrum framework is most likely being neglected or misunderstood? A. The importance of the daily stand-up meeting. B. The role of the Scrum Master as a servant leader. C. The definition of done. D. The product backlog refinement process. Answer: C. The definition of done. The consistent failure to deliver a done increment suggests a fundamental issue with understanding or applying the definition of done. The definition of done is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. Without a clear and consistently applied definition of done, work might be considered finished by the development team but not truly usable or releasable, leading to accumulated technical debt and frustration. Establishing a transparent definition of done provides a shared understanding for the Scrum team and stakeholders about what done means, ensuring increments are genuinely complete. Always ensure your definition of done is clear, consistent, and rigorously applied to achieve truly releasable increments. Question 3. During a sprint retrospective, the development team identifies that a key bottleneck is the wait time for an external department to approve certain technical designs. This external department is outside the Scrum team's direct control. What is the Scrum Master's best course of action? A. Document the impediment and present it to the external department's manager for resolution. B. Facilitate a discussion with the development team on how they might influence the external department or work around the dependency. C. Add a task to the sprint backlog for the development team to take over the design approvals themselves. D. Instruct the product owner to prioritize stories that do not require external approvals. Answer: B. Facilitate a discussion with the development team on how they might influence the external department or work around the dependency. The Scrum Master's role involves removing impediments that hinder the development team. When an impediment involves an external dependency, the best approach is to first empower the team to explore solutions. By facilitating a discussion, the Scrum Master encourages the self-managing development team to brainstorm creative ways to influence the external department or find alternative strategies to mitigate the impact of the bottleneck. This approach fosters problem-solving within the team, which is a core tenet of self-management. Remember, the Scrum Master acts as a facilitator and coach, helping the team become more effective rather than simply escalating problems. Question 4. A new development team member joins mid-sprint. The team is concerned that integrating the new member will disrupt their sprint goal and slow down progress. What should the Scrum Master advise? A. suggest the new member spend the remainder of the sprint observing and learning the code base. B. Explain that the sprint goal should remain undisturbed and integrate the new member into sprint backlog tasks carefully. C. Facilitate a discussion with the team to re-evaluate the sprint goal and potentially adjust the sprint backlog. D. Instruct the product owner to remove some sprint backlog items to account for the new member's learning curve. Answer. B. Explain that the sprint goal should remain undisturbed and integrate the new member into sprint backlog tasks carefully. The sprint goal is a commitment made by the development team during sprint planning, and its stability is crucial for focus and predictability within the sprint. While integrating a new team member requires effort, the Scrum Master should emphasize protecting the sprint goal and integrating the new member thoughtfully into existing sprint backlog tasks. The team should collaboratively decide how to best onboard the new member without compromising their current commitment. This approach respects the integrity of the sprint and supports the self-managing nature of the development team. The sprint goal provides essential focus and commitment for the team, and disruptions should be minimized. Question 5. The development team frequently struggles to complete all selected product backlog items by the end of the sprint. The sprint review consistently reveals incomplete work. Which Scrum event is the most appropriate place to inspect and adapt this issue? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint planning. C. Sprint retrospective. D. Product backlog refinement. Answer. C. Sprint retrospective. The sprint retrospective is the dedicated event for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. Issues like incomplete work, struggling with scope, or consistency problems are precisely what the retrospective is designed to address. During this event, the team collaboratively discusses what went well, what impediments they faced, and what changes they can make to increase their effectiveness. This continuous improvement mindset is vital for a healthy Scrum team. Always use the retrospective as your dedicated time to reflect and plan for better future sprints. Question 6. The product owner is overwhelmed with prioritizing a large and complex product backlog. They frequently ask the Scrum Master to help them decide which items are most important. How should the Scrum Master respond? A. Take over the product backlog prioritization for the product owner temporarily. B. Coach the product owner on various techniques for product backlog management and prioritization. C. Suggest the development team collectively prioritize the product backlog items. D. Advise the product owner to only focus on the most urgent items and defer others. Answer. B. Coach the product owner on various techniques for product backlog management and prioritization. The Scrum Master acts as a coach and facilitator, not a substitute for other roles. Prioritizing the product backlog is the sole accountability of the product owner. Therefore, the Scrum Master's most effective action is to coach the product owner, teaching them techniques and strategies for effective backlog management and prioritization. This empowers the product owner to fulfill their accountability independently and sustainably. Providing tools and guidance aligns with the Scrum Master's role of helping others understand and enact Scrum. Always aim to empower individuals to fulfill their responsibilities rather than doing the work for them. Question 7. A development team member consistently brings up technical debt concerns during sprint reviews, disrupting the flow and confusing stakeholders. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Tell the development team member to save these concerns for the sprint retrospective. B. Coach the development team on how to integrate technical debt discussions into product backlog items or definition of done. C. Suggest the product owner remove all technical debt items from the product backlog. D. Schedule a separate meeting specifically for technical debt discussions with relevant stakeholders. Answer. B. Coach the development team on how to integrate technical debt discussions into product backlog items or definition of done. Technical debt is a legitimate concern that affects the quality and future maintainability of the product, and it should be transparently managed. The sprint review is a formal opportunity to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog. Instead of suppressing these discussions, the Scrum Master should coach the development team on how to properly incorporate technical debt concerns, perhaps by creating explicit product backlog items for them or ensuring the definition of done accounts for quality standards that prevent new technical debt. This ensures that technical debt is transparent, understood, and proactively managed within the Scrum framework, rather than being in disruptive surprise during formal events. Question 8. During a daily Scrum, a development team member reports a significant impediment that will prevent them from completing their work. What is the development team's primary responsibility regarding this impediment? A. Wait for the Scrum Master to remove the impediment. B. Add the impediment to a separate impediment log for the Scrum Master to manage. C. Self-organize to resolve the impediment, seeking help from the Scrum Master if needed. D. Stop working until the impediment is fully resolved by the Scrum Master. Answer: C. Self-organize to resolve the impediment, seeking help from the Scrum Master if needed. The development team is a self-managing entity, meaning they decide how to best accomplish their work within the sprint goal. When an impediment arises, their primary responsibility is to first attempt to resolve it themselves, leveraging their collective skills and knowledge. They should only seek assistance from the Scrum Master if they are unable to resolve it on their own or need external support. This approach reinforces the team's autonomy and problem-solving capabilities, empowering them to overcome challenges directly. Empower your team to solve problems before jumping in to do it for them. Question 9. The product owner frequently adds new, urgent items to the sprint backlog mid-sprint, bypassing the sprint planning process. The development team is becoming demotivated due to constant interruptions and scope creep. What action should the Scrum Master take? A. Tell the development team to reject any new work from the product owner once the sprint starts. B. Coach the product owner on the importance of sprint goal stability and respecting the development team's capacity. C. Facilitate a meeting where the development team confronts the product owner about the disruptive behavior. D. Update the Scrum board to clearly show the new items added by the product owner to increase transparency. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on the importance of sprint goal stability and respecting the development team's capacity. This scenario highlights a crucial breakdown in protecting the sprint goal and the development team's ability to focus. The Scrum Master's primary responsibility is to ensure the Scrum framework is understood and enacted, including its rules. Coaching the product owner on the importance of the sprint goal, the sprint backlog stability, and the impact of mid-sprint changes on the development team's focus and morale is key. This approach educates the product owner on their accountabilities within Scrum and helps them understand the negative consequences of their actions. The sprint is a protected time for the development team to focus on achieving the sprint goal. Question 10. The Scrum team has been consistently delivering working software, but stakeholders express confusion about what will be delivered in upcoming sprints. Which area of Scrum practice needs the most attention? A. The definition of done. B. Product backlog transparency. C. Sprint retrospective format. D. Daily Scrum effectiveness. Answer: B. Product backlog transparency. Stakeholder confusion about future deliverables directly points to a lack of transparency and clarity around the product backlog. The product backlog is an emergent, ordered list of what is needed to improve the product. Its transparency is crucial for stakeholders to understand the current state and what is expected next. The Scrum Master, in support of the product owner, should ensure the product backlog is visible, understood, and regularly refined to provide a clear roadmap for stakeholders. A clear and visible product backlog helps manage expectations and provides a window into the product's future. Question 11. During sprint planning, the development team feels pressured by the product owner to commit to more work than they believe they can realistically complete in the upcoming sprint. What is the Scrum Master's role in this situation? A. Encourage the development team to accept the challenge and try their best. B. Mediate between the product owner and development team to find a compromise. C. Coach the development team on their right to self-manage their sprint backlog and reject unreasonable commitments. D. Instruct the product owner that they cannot dictate the sprint scope to the development team. Answer: C. Coach the development team on their right to self-manage their sprint backlog and reject unreasonable commitments. A core principle of Scrum is that the development team is self-managing, and they are the ones who forecast what they can accomplish during a sprint. The Scrum Master's role is to ensure that the team operates within the Scrum framework, which includes protecting their ability to make their own commitments. Coaching the development team on their authority to determine their capacity and select sprint backlog items helps them resist external pressure and fosters a sustainable pace of work. This empowerment ensures realistic commitments and builds trust within the team. Question 12. A development team member consistently dominates conversations during the daily Scrum, leading to others not having enough time to share their updates. What is the Scrum Master's most effective action? A. Assign a strict time limit for each person to speak during the daily Scrum. B. Gently remind the team during the daily Scrum about its purpose and time box, and facilitate to ensure everyone contributes. C. Talk to the dominant team member privately after the daily Scrum to address their behavior. D. Suggest that the team try a different format for the daily Scrum, such as passing a token. Answer: B. Gently remind the team during the daily Scrum about its purpose and time box, and facilitate to ensure everyone contributes. The daily Scrum is a 15-minute event for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. If one member is dominating, the Scrum Master, as a facilitator, should gently intervene during the event itself to reinforce the purpose and time box, ensuring all voices are heard and the team maintains focus. This immediate, in-the-moment coaching helps the team improve their self-management of the event. Addressing issues transparently and in the moment is often more effective for fostering healthy team dynamics. Question 13. The Scrum Master notices that the development team is frequently working overtime and appears exhausted. Sprint goals are consistently met, but the team's morale is declining. What should the Scrum Master prioritize? A. Protecting the team from external pressure to ensure a sustainable pace. B. Celebrating the team's success in meeting sprint goals despite the overtime. C. Facilitating a discussion in the sprint retrospective about individual work-life balance. D. Coaching the product owner to reduce the scope of future sprints. Answer: A. Protecting the team from external pressure to ensure a sustainable pace. While meeting sprint goals is important, a healthy and sustainable pace is critical for long-term productivity and team well-being. The Scrum Master is a servant leader who helps the Scrum team adhere to Scrum values, including commitment and respect. If the team is working excessive overtime, it indicates an unsustainable pace, which can lead to burnout and reduced quality. The Scrum Master must protect the team from external pressures that might cause this, ensuring they can work at a sustainable pace. A burnt-out team cannot maintain high performance, so prioritizing their well-being is paramount. Question 14. A new product owner is struggling to write clear and concise product backlog items. The development team finds it difficult to understand the requirements, leading to frequent rework. What is the Scrum Master's best approach? A. Take over writing product backlog items for the product owner until they learn. B. Coach the product owner on techniques for writing effective product backlog items, possibly pairing them with an experienced team member. C. Advise the development team to just do their best with the unclear items and seek clarification when needed. D. Suggest the product owner only bring fully detailed requirements documents to sprint planning. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on techniques for writing effective product backlog items, possibly pairing them with an experienced team member. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by helping them find techniques for effective product backlog management. When the product owner struggles with writing clear items, the Scrum Master should provide coaching and guidance, perhaps introducing concepts like invest criteria, independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, testable, or encouraging collaboration with the development team during refinement. Pairing the product owner with an experienced team member can also facilitate knowledge transfer. This supportive and educational approach empowers the product owner to improve their skills and better fulfill their accountability. Question 15. During the sprint review, stakeholders request a significant change to a feature that has just been demonstrated as done. The development team argues this change will require a new sprint. What should the Scrum Master advise? A. Encourage the development team to incorporate the change immediately to satisfy stakeholders. B. Explain that new requests are welcome and should be added to the product backlog for future sprints. C. Mediate a compromise between the stakeholders and the development team to find a partial solution. D. Remind stakeholders that the increment is done and significant changes should be discussed with the product owner for the product backlog. Answer. B. Explain that new requests are welcome and should be added to the product backlog for future sprints. The sprint review is a working session where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done and what to do next. While feedback and new ideas are highly valued, significant changes to already done work or requests for new features are inputs for the future. The Scrum Master should ensure that new ideas and changes are appropriately captured by the product owner and added to the product backlog for future prioritization in sprints. This respects the integrity of the done increment and maintains the disciplined flow of the Scrum framework. Question 16. A development team member consistently appears disengaged during Scrum events and rarely contributes to discussions, even when prompted. Other team members notice and are concerned. What is the Scrum Master's initial approach? A. Publicly call out the team member during the next daily Scrum to encourage participation. B. Have a private conversation with the team member to understand the underlying reasons for their disengagement. C. Ask the product owner to assign easier tasks to this team member to rebuild confidence. D. Suggest to the team that they should self-organize to address the team member's lack of participation. Answer. B. Have a private conversation with the team member to understand the underlying reasons for their disengagement. The Scrum Master serves the development team and individual members by coaching them in self-management and cross-functionality. When a team member is disengaged, a private, empathetic conversation is the most appropriate first step. This allows the Scrum Master to understand the root cause of the behavior, which could range from personal issues to feeling overwhelmed, misunderstood, or unchallenged. Addressing concerns privately fosters trust and respect, paving the way for constructive solutions that might benefit both the individual and the team. Always seek to understand before taking action, especially with sensitive team dynamics. Question 17. The product owner constantly struggles to get enough time with stakeholders to gather effective feedback and refine the product backlog. This results in the development team often working on assumptions. What is the Scrum Master's most helpful action? A. Schedule and facilitate stakeholder meetings on behalf of the product owner. B. Coach the product owner on strategies for stakeholder engagement and communication. C. Advise the development team to make their best guess when requirements are unclear. D. Suggest that the product owner delegate stakeholder interaction to the Scrum Master. Answer. B. Coach the product owner on strategies for stakeholder engagement and communication. The product owner is accountable for effective stakeholder management and ensuring the product backlog maximizes value. If they are struggling to get stakeholder time, the Scrum Master should act as a coach. The Scrum Master can help the product owner explore various communication strategies, meeting formats, or ways to articulate the value of stakeholder input. This guidance empowers the product owner to improve their skills and fulfill their responsibilities, rather than the Scrum Master taking over their duties. Empowering the product owner ensures a more sustainable and effective long-term solution for stakeholder engagement. Question 18. A development team decides to skip the sprint retrospective because they feel there are no significant issues to discuss, and they want to start the next sprint immediately to gain time. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Allow them to skip it if the increment was done and they feel confident. B. Remind them of the purpose of the sprint retrospective and strongly encourage them to hold it. C. Suggest a shorter, informal retrospective instead of skipping it entirely. D. Facilitate a discussion with the product owner about the development team's decision. Answer: B. Remind them of the purpose of the sprint retrospective and strongly encourage them to hold it. The sprint retrospective is a mandatory and crucial event in Scrum for continuous improvement. Even when things seem to be going well, there are always opportunities to inspect and adapt processes, tools, or interactions. The Scrum Master is responsible for ensuring the Scrum events occur and are positive, productive, and kept within the time box. They should remind the team that skipping the retrospective misses an opportunity for self-inspection and hinders long-term growth and effectiveness. The retrospective is the dedicated time to refine how the team works together, making it indispensable for improving future performance. Question 19. The development team is consistently overcommitting during sprint planning, leading to a significant amount of unfinished work at the end of each sprint. This causes frustration and demoralization. What is the root cause the Scrum Master should address first? A. Lack of accurate velocity tracking. B. Insufficient product backlog refinement. C. Pressure from the product owner or stakeholders. D. The development team's understanding of their capacity and self-management. Answer: D. The development team's understanding of their capacity and self-management. While factors like velocity and refinement play a role, the fundamental issue of consistently overcommitting often stems from the development team's understanding of their own capacity and their ability to self-manage their work. The Scrum Master should coach the team on how to realistically assess their capacity, say no to unreasonable scope, and effectively pull work during sprint planning based on their actual ability to complete it. Empowering the team to own their commitments and manage their own pace is crucial for building trust and achieving sustainable sprints. A team that truly understands its capacity makes realistic, achievable commitments. Question 20. A Scrum Master observes that the development team often waits for the product owner to tell them exactly how to implement a feature, rather than self-organizing on the technical solution. What Scrum value is most likely not being fully embraced? A. Commitment. B. Focus. C. Courage. D. Respect. Answer: C. Courage. The Scrum value of courage is about having the bravery to do the right thing and work on tough problems. In this scenario, the development team lacks the courage to self-organize and take ownership of the technical implementation, instead deferring to the product owner for explicit instructions. A truly self-managing development team is empowered to determine the best way to accomplish the work and overcome challenges. The Scrum Master needs to foster an environment where the team feels confident and courageous enough to make technical decisions and take initiative. Encouraging courage helps the team unleash its full potential and become truly self-managing. Question 21. During a sprint, a major, unexpected technical issue arises that jeopardizes the entire sprint goal. The development team is stuck and requires significant external support to resolve it. What should be the Scrum Master's immediate primary focus? A. Attempt to resolve the technical issue personally to unblock the team. B. Facilitate the team's reassessment of the sprint goal and potential adjustments to the sprint backlog. C. Remove the impediment by escalating to relevant external experts or management. D. Coach the team on how to prevent such technical issues in future sprints. Answer: C. Remove the impediment by escalating to relevant external experts or management. When a significant impediment arises that is beyond the development team's ability to resolve themselves, the Scrum Master's immediate primary accountability is to remove that impediment. In this case, an unexpected technical issue jeopardizing the sprint goal requires external support, which the Scrum Master is best positioned to facilitate by connecting the team with the necessary experts or escalating to management. While subsequent coaching and reassessment are important, the immediate priority is unblocking the team so they can continue progress towards the sprint goal. Unblocking the team is a core servant leadership duty. Question 22. A development team continually feels overwhelmed and stressed, even though they are technically completing their sprint goals. They express that they feel like resource machines rather than a collaborative team. What aspect of Scrum is the Scrum Master failing to support effectively? A. Adherence to the definition of done. B. The empirical process control theory. C. The spirit of self-management and team dynamics. D. Effective product backlog refinement. Answer: C. The spirit of self-management and team dynamics. The scenario describes a team that is delivering but lacks morale and feels depersonalized, indicating a breakdown in their self-management and collaborative spirit. The Scrum Master is a servant leader who supports the team in their journey towards self-management and fostering a healthy, collaborative environment. If the team feels like resource machines, the Scrum Master needs to focus on coaching them to embody Scrum's values, encourage mutual support, and empower them to truly own their work and improve their interactions. Empowering genuine collaboration helps the team thrive beyond just task completion. Question 23. The development team is consistently delivering increments that meet the definition of done, but the product owner is frequently surprised by the actual functionality, claiming it's not what they envisioned, even though they approved the product backlog item. What event needs stronger focus and improvement? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint review. C. Sprint planning. D. Product backlog refinement. Answer: D. Product backlog refinement. The product owner's surprise at delivered functionality, despite approval of the product backlog item, strongly indicates insufficient product backlog refinement. Refinement is the ongoing process where the product owner and development team add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. This collaborative activity ensures a shared understanding of what needs to be built and minimizes ambiguity, allowing the development team to create increments that truly meet the product owner's vision. Effective refinement is crucial for minimizing surprises and building a shared understanding of upcoming work. Question 24. A Scrum Master has been asked by management to provide individual performance reports for each development team member based on their task completion rates in the sprint backlog. How should the Scrum Master respond? A. Provide the reports, as it helps management understand individual contributions. B. Explain that Scrum promotes team-level accountability and discourages individual performance metrics from the sprint backlog. C. Suggest an alternative reporting method that focuses on team velocity instead. D. Decline the request, stating it is outside the Scrum Master's responsibilities. Answer: B. Explain that Scrum promotes team-level accountability and discourages individual performance metrics from the sprint backlog. Scrum emphasizes transparency and accountability at the team level, not individual performance tracking from the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is owned by the self-managing development team, and tasks are collectively worked on to achieve the sprint goal. Reporting on individual task completion rates undermines team collaboration, encourages siloed work, and can foster an unhealthy competitive environment. The Scrum Master should educate management on the principles of Scrum and the importance of team-level metrics and accountability. Focusing on the team's collective progress ensures a stronger, more cohesive unit. Question 25. The development team frequently delivers increments that are technically sound but lack user interface, UI, polish, even though UI design was part of the original product backlog items. This leads to negative feedback during sprint reviews. What might be the underlying issue the Scrum Master should investigate? A. The product owner is not clearly communicating UI expectations. B. The development team lacks sufficient skills in UI development or integration. C. The definition of done does not adequately address UI quality. D. The product backlog items are too large, leading to rushed UI work at the end of the sprint. Answer: C. The definition of done does not adequately address UI quality. If the increment is technically sound but consistently lacks UI polish, it points to a gap in the shared understanding of done for UI aspects. The definition of done serves as a formal agreement that ensures quality and completeness for all work incorporated into the increment. If UI quality isn't explicitly defined or adequately rigorous within the definition of done, the development team might consider the UI done when it merely functions, not when it meets a desired level of polish. The Scrum Master should facilitate the team's inspection and adaptation of their definition of done to explicitly include UI quality standards.